Hello, thanks for tuning in. My name's Hussein, and we're gonna go for a bike ride through the cemetery here. Why? Well, the reason I came here, my dear user, is because I like bringing you vintage scenes and panoramas from the good city of Toronto. Besides which, a cemetery is certainly a place for deep and profound thoughts and things like this. Now, on the other hand, this is a walk through memory lane. I am literally a big believer of, having literally, you should literally walk through memory lane, or bike in this case. Now, I'm kind of making sure that nobody's around to tell me off, this kind of thing. I think we're good to go. So yeah, I used to come for walks through it with mi esposa bonita, colombiana. This is Parliament Street, just on the other side here. Up north is Bloor Street. Okay, there's the Bloor Danforth Bridge. Okay, I have a couple of videos back where I went there and revisited the times when I used to stay there as a homeless person, these kinds of things. Visiting where I slept as a homeless person. These buildings here, this is the outskirts of St. James Town. Okay, and my beautiful wife, mi esposa bonita de Bogotá, Colombia. Muy linda y hermosa y por supuesto santa. Right, my beautiful wife or ex-wife, I don't know, ask her what the status is. She used to live there. We used to come for walks here and this kind of thing. Let's go for a ride. So now, I appreciate you if you've clicked on this. As soon as I jump on the bike, there's people coming up the way here. I'm not gonna point the camera at them, but I'm just wondering, is this wrong? Is this wrong, or is this is it disrespectful? I'm literally here honoring the dead, among other things, right? I mean, I was going to get to this part of my thought process and reason for being here. Coming to cemeteries is an amazing thing, right? It's an amazing thing on so many levels, and I hope you understand this very clearly. I just want to say, of course, I'm thinking of calling this video "Nobody Watches My YouTube Videos," and in brackets, in parentheses, a bicycle ride through the cemetery. And by the way, I'm in trouble here because this brake doesn't work. So whatever, it is what it is, right? So yeah, I have fond memories of coming here with my beautiful wife. I had a good friend who lived in her building close by, and we used to come here. He used to drink. He's an alcoholic, self-admitted. I was addicted to marijuana for many years, and I've got videos about that too. This is all part of my recovery journey, by the way. So I just came from my Sunday NA meeting, Narcotics Anonymous, and I was happy to report to these people that I have lost the desire to smoke weed. I don't mention the weed. We use the term DOC, drug of choice, and everyone there probably thinks I'm an addict, in terms of hard drugs and these things, and it's just weed, right? Hello, cute little Yorkie. So yeah, is this sacrilegious or blasphemous or something? No, I totally honor the dead more than most of these folks, and it is a walk through memory lane. And of course, there's the novelty factor of trying to attract people to this video, because I finally reached rock bottom in my YouTube career, my dear user, which is that literally zero people on this new zero people watched my last video. It fills me with sadness, of course, to report this to you. I'm sure you're very concerned about this. Testing 1 2 3. So yeah, we used to come here, and for some reason my camera just stopped filming, and it seems to have enough memory, whatever. It looks like I'm gonna have to do some patchwork on this video and like stitch 3 videos together. And while I'm at it, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I should put in a goddamn, like I've been thinking for years about obviously ways to attract YouTube viewers and those clicks and things like this. And I've started coming up with thumbnails. I don't know. I think they're kind of cool. Are they better than no thumbnail? I guess, although many videos with no thumbnails go viral. No one knows the art and the science of this thing. There's only close approximations. Like the art and science are going viral, right? Like it is what it is, right? Like I do these things because it's a therapeutic process. I get to talk out my thoughts and things that are on my mind. And like I heard one YouTuber say recently, very interesting thing, like even if no one watches your video, she said, you're making a record of your life. There's so many reasons that you should pick up a camera and do this, right? So the thumbnail, I've started adding this. It doesn't seem to have made much of a difference. On my Zaidi Boy channel, for example, and then A Rational Muslim, these channels, @ A Rational Muslim, I'm locked out of that as well. These channels, I've gotten like hundreds and a couple of thousand views here and there, like Bipolar Muslim Addict, right? This is another channel. There's a couple of videos on there that have at least one with a couple of thousand views, these kinds of things. Anyway, my friend and I used to come down here, and if you go to the Zaidi Boy channel, now remember, if you go to a YouTube channel and you want to search within that channel, this is very important because you might be following someone and there's a video of theirs and you're trying to find it. Don't go to the main YouTube search button. Rather, within the channel, you basically have a little magnifying glass search button that you can press on underneath, like where the channel starts. You'll see it to the side there, kind of hidden away. Anyway, if you really are very interested, you can see me when I'm manic and I'm smoking weed and my buddy's drinking. Campus, Charlie, Alpha, Mary, Papa, October, Sierra. Campos. So now, yeah, so we used to come here and it was a lot of fun. We came here a bunch of times. And he'd be drinking, I'd be smoking weed, I'd be manic, acting crazy, he was drunk, acting crazy. The weed smoking triggers a bipolar reaction in me. And I'm at a stage now where I'm just totally, just like my good old, well, I said good old wife, but my beautiful wife. But she said it for so long that it's become one of these things, like the good old days with my wife. And I saw her as an example of someone who was so professional, so organized, so motivated, driven. She'd get up at 6 o'clock every day, 5 o'clock, read the Bible for 2 hours, right? She used to read the whole Bible, la Santa Biblia, toda la mente, la Viejo Testamentario y la Nuevo. She used to read the Old Testament and la Biblia Nuevo, like the New Testament, every year, like this daily Bible reading program. And she's more holy than anyone I know, frankly, like more or less, full stop, apart from my dad, this kind of thing. My wife, she's the holiest person I know in my personal circle and people I've met. I'd say, even frankly, she's just a beautiful, devout, practicing cristiana hermosa de Colombia, real, no como aquí. Aquí es una vez en una semana. If you go to church one time in a week, this is called tú eres una cristiano. But this is not the case. Esta es no la verdad. I don't really know how to speak Spanish. I just pretend I do. I'm learning. Let me just put it this way. Because you always want to speak positive. Always talk about positive outcomes, dear viewer. Don't even mention negative outcomes. I don't want to say, for example, I want to say, I hope you're enjoying this video. I hope many people click on this video. I hope I can actually stitch these separate videos together because it paused in between and now I've got a couple of videos I need to stitch together. And then I'm thinking of putting a soundtrack on that and seeing what that does, if anything. And it's just an experiment. And then, of course, I'm thinking about a starter, like this starting thing, when you basically have an opener, like I have a Zaidi Boy opener for my videos. Like, is it worth spending time doing this? I mean, I guess so. Why the hell not? Why the hell not, right? So I had one at one point. I had a starter and I had it configured for widescreen and mobile, and like I had 2 different versions of it. It's like things sometimes seem simple And complicated things are sometimes simple, and simple things sometimes take a number of steps that you really need to get into. And you can tell why I have trouble like engaging people, because I'm just going on and on and on. Like I start talking about something and I just go off down this tangent. So my video with Campos, Campos, Charlie Alpha Mary Papa October Sierra. This is the whole thing with that. Like you can go to the Zaidi Boy channel in the magnifying glass and just put in Campos. there's several very funny videos. I found them funny at the time and I'm still laughing about it, but then I'm also laughing about the fact that nobody watches these videos. Zero. My last video that I checked, zero. On this channel, the most popular video I have is called How to Get Off the Drugs, because I come out of this meeting on Sunday here at the top of Broadview Avenue, Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And then I'm fired up. It's such a great session and group and hugs and, you know, beautiful, spirited people that are high on life. And they're teaching themselves how to enjoy the simple pleasures of life. And this is what the whole thing is. Just enjoying nature and enjoying a bike ride. Doot, 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 doot. No one's stolen my bike yet. Great. Anyway, so enjoying things. I mean, it's hard, of course, if you are stuck in a job you don't like, if you're living somewhere you don't like. And I mean, there's many things. Life is not perfect, but there is peace and happiness and enjoyment in life. There's just no stability. This is something that Prophet Muhammad said, peace be upon him and his family. Anyway, 47 views. I filmed something like 3 weeks ago, and I called it How to Get Off of Drugs. And then in brackets, I had like a couple of pointers. Get a life. And then ... life is the ultimate high, or something like this. Like trying desperately, as it were, to attract a viewership or a click. I'm just desperate for a click. I used to get like thousands on some of my videos in the Zaidi Boy channel. And the irony, of course, is that during the times that I was creating all these videos in the links below, I was usually just manic and out of my gourd. I've struggled with this bipolar weed addiction for 15 years almost 15 years. Like literally 14 years ago I was diagnosed bipolar, and it took me going to jail for 18 months in 2023 to round the edge. So I was 12 years a bipolar slave. So now you can go check out Campos and me, and there's a very interesting video called Call of Nature. And Campos is making bird sounds, and the great thing is the bird is answering him. So yeah, I'm here in this cemetery. I originally wanted to go to I went to another homeless bridge that I used to live under, and there was this very sketchy homeless guy. I come around the corner and he's doing something and he's like, huh! And he's one of these scary kind of tweaked out dudes. I figure I could take him in a fight, and I'm not above saying to you that I have run away many times from situations that have gone out of control, where I could have gotten really hurt or killed. And this guy did have like the usual standard. He had a crack pipe, he had an iron bar close by, a very nice bike, nice clothes. This kind of like fucking experienced street person who basically would just smash you if you did something that he didn't like, or made a move for some of his stuff, or acted stupid. He might just hit you with anyway. I ended up giving him some tobacco to roll a smoke. He asked me for a cigarette. I gave him some rolling papers and tobacco, and I left him there rolling a smoke, and whatever. I figured I could have taken him in a fair fight, who knows, but it didn't get to that, thankfully. I was intending to shoot a video under this other bridge that I used to sleep at and spend time. And again, it's a walk through memory lane. These are middle-aged things, oh young viewer. You reach a stage in life, oh children of the concubus, where you realize that life is enough, and life is incessantly interesting, incessantly everything, terrifying, ominous, intense, marvelous, beautiful, everything, just life. And this is what it is. I mean, Imam Ali, peace be upon him, who us Shias follow as the successor of Prophet Muhammad, he was his son-in-law, married to the Prophet's daughter, Fatima, the peace and blessings of Allah be upon her. And he was his cousin, Imam Ali. You can Google sayings of Imam Ali, A-L-I, Alpha Lima, India. Now, if you Google sayings of Imam Ali and you go to Google Images, this is what I like to do. You'll see all these beautiful sayings. One of my favorites, and more or less all of them are amazing, but there's some that just stay with you forever. He says, be like the rose that gives its fragrance even to the hand that is crushing it. That's one of his sayings. He says, peace be upon him, smile even if your heart is bleeding. Anyway, so now here we are. Actually, being in a graveyard reminds me of Imam Ali, peace be upon him. When they would pass the graveyard, of course, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family and our holy imams would generally more or less stop and say assalamu alaikum ya ahl al-qubur, peace be upon you, O denizens of these graves, like people living here, people whose spirits abide in this cemetery. Like there's a lot more detail in Islam, let's put it this way. Like Christianity, more or less, one of my biggest, again, my wife's a Christian, that pretty much makes me a Christian, and Christianity is Judaism plus, Islam is Judaism plus or Christianity plus. That's all it is. So one of my statements or one of my conceptions is, so now again, I'm going to sit on this grave. Is that wrong? I probably shouldn't. This is a headstone. I'll sit here on this bar here. And by the way, again, like I do honor these, like I'm biking through here and I'm making this video. I do very much honor the dead, right? And I like, in fact, reading the dates. Florence Gillespie Raymond, 1876 to 1959. And then sometimes there's inscriptions, there's messages, right? And I wonder about like these people. Some of them were during the war years, 1914 to 1918. Some of them were like the 1939 to 1945, Second World War. Some of them were during the Great Depression. Some of them were turn of the century, this century, that century. Some of them are in their 20s, 30s, 60s. Then you'll see couples buried together. You'll have beautiful inscriptions. And for sure, it's a very somber setting. And I mean, jail is the ultimate place to reflect on life and things like that. And the cemetery is a good runner-up. Like when you come to a cemetery, there is definitely a sense of peace and serenity and sanctity and things like this. So, assalamu alaikum ya ahl al-qubur, peace be upon you, O citizens of these graves. And Imam Ali would turn, or once he turned to his companions, and he talked to the people out loud. He talked to the people in the graves. He stood there and he said, assalamu alaikum ya ahl al-qubur, peace be upon you, citizens of the graves. Now, what news have you for us? And then he says, as for us, the news that we have to report is your houses are now inhabited by other people. Your possessions and your money have been inherited or bequeathed to others. Your wives have married others, these kinds of things. And all trace of you, like more or less, is forgotten, these kinds of things. Right? This was his report to them. Then he turns to his companions and he says, if they could talk to you, they would say things to you that is very profound and unsettling, in as much as what they have seen and have experienced and what they are experiencing. The Islamic conception of death, again, Islam is an elaboration or a detailed like basically a detailed version of Christianity, this kind of thing. Like you take Christianity and Judaism, the Judaism, you tone it down. Sharia law is way more toned down than Judaism. If you think Sharia law is harsh, stoning people and whipping people and beheading people, all of this is in Judaism plus way more. It's way more strict and way more harsh than Sharia law. That's what that is. So I like to say, I said on my last video, Islam is a toned down version of Judaism and a beefed up version of Christianity. So in Christianity, one of my complaints or observations is, if I'm a Christian, then more or less the whole religion boils down to these two words: be good or do good. Do good, that's it. Right? And Islam provides a detailed extrapolation or synthesis of all these things, like gossiping and lying and biting your nails is frowned upon in Islam, although it's not a sin, these kinds of things. And it goes into a lot of detail. Now, of course, a lot of people don't like this kind of thing. Like, oh, there's too many rules and all these kinds of things. Well, the correct way to think about it is that if you do something correctly, then you don't have to worry about it at all, right? If you get up and you take a shower and you're busy and you get on with your day, you're busy and all these kinds of things, but you enjoy yourself. All I'm trying to say is that if you don't apply the right rules to your life, then you'll get stuck in things and you'll be going in circles. And that's all that is. Religion, I like to say, religion provides answers to life's problems, every single kind of problem. Like my hair, like, am I allowed to have long hair and what should I do about it? And things like, for example, in Shia Islam, you must have a beard unless your wife doesn't like a beard. This is why I don't have a beard, and more or less that's what that is, right? My wife likes a clean-shaven look, and that's why I only have this thing. In Sunni Islam, you're allowed to shave. In Shia Islam, you're meant to have a beard because it enhances your masculinity. Anyway, the Islamic conception of the grave, like, this is again a big deal, like in terms of, if I became a Christian, like many Christians want or expect you to become a Christian, many Muslims want or expect you to become a Muslim. I'm not one of those kinds of people. I want you to become a good person and be the best person you can be. Please watch my video. If you have watched this far, watch the video called How to Change Your Life in an Instant. This thing, right? I'm listening literally to the audiobook that I reference in this video. The book, I have a video and it talks about the book One Decision by Coach Mike Bayer. And your one decision should be to constantly channel your best self. Anyway, going around in circles, these kinds of things. In Christianity, you die and you go to heaven. Or if people think about this thing, they realize that, well, the day of judgment has not happened yet, and that's when God, the Almighty, the Exalted, in this theological set of beliefs, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and many other religions, there's going to be a day of judgment, and then God weighs the scales of your deeds and intentions, good and bad, He forgives so much that even according to our sixth Imam, peace be upon him, from the family of Muhammad, peace be upon them all, God will forgive so much in the day of judgment that even Satan will expect to be forgiven. So now in Christianity again, do good. That's all it is. Like, just be your best, be the best person you can be. And like, for a person that prays 5 times a day and fasts for 30 days, and we have all these rules about cutting your nails, and for example, if you have a beard, you should like keep it well, you should trim it, things like this, right? Rules of cleanliness, rules of what you eat, what you wear, and things like this. So am I to then give up all of these rules? This is what I ask Christians. Should I stop praying 5 times a day? And should I stop fasting? And should I stop, we have like hundreds of beautiful prayers that have reached us from our imams, and you read them and you're just transported in ecstatic delights and these kinds of things. Should I stop all of this? And what do you have to replace it with? This is my main complaint with Christianity. There's nothing there. Like, there's nothing there. For a person that for 50 years, 40 years, since I was like a teenager, I've been following this thing, praying 5 times a day, and like it's a mode of living, and it's basically the bomb as far as I'm concerned, right? I had decided a couple of videos ago to start making videos about Islam, and that's why I'm mentioning it more and more. I just want to point out with regards to the graves and whatnot. So Christians, again, you die and he's in heaven right now, right? This kind of thing. Now, then you think about it, and then you think, well, there has to be a day of judgment for there to be heaven and hell. In terms of heaven and hell may or may not exist already. However, people are sent to heaven and hell on the day of judgment. So what happens between when you die and when you go to hell or heaven? What happens between the time you die and the day of judgment? This is something that Christians, as such, I suppose, I don't talk to too many Jews. I have some great friends who are Jews. I haven't really talked to many of them, or most. I have like 3 Jewish best friends, frankly. One of them I met in jail, who's almost a chess grandmaster type of guy. He taught me so much about chess and life. Anyway, and he was a hardcore drug addict, unfortunately. So I don't have a way of getting in touch with this guy. He got into a fight in my unit on jail, and they moved him before I could like get his email or Instagram, and I don't think he's a big online guy. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I here worship Jews, and Islam, in fact, is closely related to Judaism. I mentioned this in my last talk on religion. Like the talk prior to this, the video was called The Biggest Proof of God is You, and then in brackets, and everything else in existence. Purgatory is where I'm trying to get to, like right now. Like in Islam and Christianity, and I suppose Judaism as that were, there is a place that's the in-between, purgatory. Okay, purgatory is where you are, like, until the day of judgment. You die, and there's a place called purgatory, and then Islam elaborates on this, and our Imams, peace be upon them, all have talked about this in great detail. And seers and mystics have been given visions of this place. Essentially, it's more or less a mini heaven or hell. If you were good in this life, you basically have to relive everything you went through in this life in purgatory, right, from moment to moment. And Imam Ali would talk about it and say, what a long journey you guys have, and we have, and oh my God, he would just say, tawil, safrun tawil, something like this. It's a long journey. Like, every moment of your life you have to relive in purgatory, but the time of the hereafter is way longer. Like the Quran says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla says in the Quran that one day with us, with God, is the equivalent of 1,000 years of your time. So you have to essentially spend time in purgatory, and there is time spent in the grave itself. Like in Islam, before you even enter into purgatory, you're questioned in your grave by 2 angels. One is called Munkar, one is called Nakir. Every kid knows this in Islam. When you are in your grave, if you have prayed and fasted and given charity, these steppings, and gone to the Hajj and these kinds of things, the stepping stones of like the Muslim faith, more or less, the practical aspects that are obligatory upon every Muslim, each of these things will appear as a light on different corners of you. You're there in your grave, and there's light. There's the light of your prayer, there's the light of your fasting, these kinds of things. And then the angels will question you. Man Rabbuka? Who is your God? Who's your Lord? Waman Rasuluka? Waman Imamuka? Who's your prophet? Who's your Imam? Right? On the one hand, every Sunni will agree, because this is a so-called agreed upon saying of Muhammad, that a person that dies without knowing the Imam of their age, like this is the difference between Shias and Sunnis. We follow Imams, they follow Caliphs. We follow Imam Ali, they followed elected representatives who were secular politicians and kings and kingmakers and that whole political thing which turned into the Saudi dynasty, which turned into the Ottoman Empire, which literally turned into ISIS and Al-Qaeda, more or less. That's what that is. So please shoot me questions or comments. Okay, now this section that I've been rambling away is already 25 minutes, and then I had a few minutes prior to this, so I usually make these videos like 30 minutes long, but I've kind of gone over here, and so thank you for watching. Whatever, I wanted to talk about this thing, like this whole YouTubing thing. I think it's very beneficial for a person to make YouTube videos. I believe that I have become more professional in my delivery or whatever. I still think about why is it that I give a bad first impression. I don't think I'm photogenic online, this kind of thing. I would like to have viewers, right? But on the other hand, I just enjoy making these videos, and it doesn't matter, and whatever, it's all good. Like, I do want to, I mentioned this in the last video, I do want to look at videos about how to present yourself on camera. And it's just like, very interesting, a couple of people have mentioned to me, recently, right? My concurrent disorders therapist, who I'm seeing as part of my probation orders. And then some random guy, or a friend or somebody said something about, like, now that I think about it and mention it, there's actually 2 or 3 people have mentioned acting to me, acting classes and things like this. So I don't know what to make of this. I've been wanting to write a movie script forever. I want to write a script about Russell Buffalino. I'm listening to the audiobook of The Irishman right now. Oh my lord, good audiobook. And what I like most about this audiobook, more or less, is Russell Buffalino. I'm just like very enamored of this old school mafiosi. When the 5 families, Genovese, Colombo, Bonanno, Gambino, and Lucchese, when they were at the height of their powers, Russell Buffalino, although he was not the head of any family, when Albert Anastasia, one of the old time bosses, was assassinated, he was having his hair cut, or he was having a shave, he had a towel around his head, and guys came into the barber shop in New York and blasted him, and this was a big deal. He was the head of the family that I believe became the Gambinos or something like this. Albert Anastasia, for a brief time, they put Russell Buffalino in, as the commission did, the 5 family commission that rules the whole La Cosa Nostra. These guys put him in as the head, the titular head of the Anastasia crime family, to hold things together. And whenever, like, this is the thing about Russell Buffalino, this is all you need to say about this guy. He was called the Quiet Don. Whenever the 5 family commission, the commission that rules over the rest of the families, and there's about 25 families in all throughout the States and even Canada, whenever they had a problem, they would come to Russell Buffalino. He was known as the Quiet Don. That's why nobody to this day knows about him. I wanted to write a script forever about Vincent Chin Gigante. Gigante means gigantic in Italiano. Anyway, he was the head of the Genovese family. And for 25 years, he pretended he was insane. Insane in the membrane, insane like Hussein. So he would walk around Greenwich Village in a bathrobe, like pissing on fire hydrants, praying to lampposts, things like this. And every 6 months, even people in his family and other families weren't sure whether he had all his marbles. Every 6 months, he'd go for a so-called tune-up. He'd go to like New England somewhere, like New Hampshire or something like this, to get checked into a clinic for psychiatric treatment. And the cops would repeatedly bust into his apartment, like throughout the years, state, federal, and local cops. Like he had fooled them all. He talked to psychiatrists, all this kind of thing, all these kinds of things. They all thought he was insane. And at the same time, at nighttime, He'd put on his suit, he'd go across the river. His wife was called Olympia Gigante, and his mistress across the river, across the Hudson River in New Jersey, he had a apartment, and he'd do a lot of business out of there at night, and at day it'd be in Greenwich Village. In Greenwich Village, he was always in a bathrobe or his pajamas, right? His wife was called Olympia, and his mistress with whom he had children was also called Olympia. So now he fooled the fans for almost 25 years. Up until like the early 80s, something like this. They all thought he was insane. Everyone thought he was insane. And the reason behind it is because nobody, even in the five families and in La Cosa Nostra, knew whether Vincent Gigante, head of the Genovese. They were like the Fortune 500 of these crime families. The Gambinos were the largest, with maybe 2,000 soldiers and associates, this kind of thing. And the Genovese just had hundreds, like maybe 500 max. But they were making billions and billions of dollars, like more money than anyone else, these kinds of things. Anyway, amazing characters, compelling characters, right? And I've been grappling with this question forever. Like, on the one hand, you have people that have such powerful personalities, and they do have a very ingrained sense of honor, and they do look after the little guy. And people would, like their whole neighborhoods and their whole communities, they hero worship these guys, because if you were sick, you'd get money for your medical bills. If your daughter was having trouble with someone, that would get straightened out. If your son needed to go to the military or law school, suddenly his stuff gets paid for. And they were real benefactors for their society. And on the other hand, like, you've got crime, like extortion and hijacking, more or less, right? And breaking and heists, like these things, like the gambling, the prostitution, and the booze, these original so-called vices or rackets. This is what it is. Like, to say that some people like drinking, and someone likes drinking, and okay, let's put it this way: everyone drinks, and then so these guys like facilitate that, and that's how they became millionaires during the Prohibition. I don't know. It's a very slippery slope, because I'm a Muslim. I don't drink. I don't believe in drinking. I'm at a point, I was saying earlier, that I've reached a point where I'm simply not interested. Like my wife, I said my good old wife. I was referring to the good old days, and like the years I spent with my wife, and how impressed I was with the fact that she was not interested in smoking, drinking, drugs. Are you crazy? She was from Colombia, and people sometimes made some drug references to me when I mentioned this. Oh, okay, does she do cocaine or some stupid, ignorant thing like this? Look at this sad thing. The cross actually fell on the ground. This is what Imam Ali was talking about. Like, all trace of you has been forgotten. Right? The guy, they put up the cross and it's on the ground, and that is sacrilegious, right? Like, if I was like, I don't know what to say. If I was in charge of this thing, this cemetery, I don't know, if I'd probably do something about that. That doesn't look very nice, right? Whatever, it is what it is, right? So again, like, the guy who's the caretaker here might come along and say, hey, why are you biking and all this crap? Whatever, dude. I'm out of here, man. Like, this video's gone on forever. I wanted to say that, yeah, I wanted to watch some YouTube videos on how to present myself and things like this. And I guess maybe, like, I smile or smirk too much, or I'm not forceful enough. I've been having all of these doubts and anxieties, in a sense of, like, what the hell is going on? Like, why do I repel people online? And in general, then I've started thinking, well, this extends to my real life. It's made me painfully aware, this whole YouTube thing, of I can get along fine with people one-on-one. My sales is awesome. My marketing, like, I'm the guy who came up with this, that sales is single, marketing is multiple. That's the only difference. When it's one-on-one, whether it's via email, on the phone, or whatever, when you are as one individual talking to one customer or one prospect or whatever, that's called sales. And when it's a broadcasting one to many, this is multiple, this is marketing. My marketing just never works. Like, if I'm talking to one person and then another person joins, and then other people, let's just put it this way, the larger the group, the more uneasy I get. I don't mind speaking in front of people. Like, this is a side note. But socializing with more than one person, I'm allergic to it. And on the one hand, I could make up some kind of story like, well, listen, what it is that when people start congregating in groups, unfortunately, they become more fake. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, that's exactly how I see it. They become less sincere and more group oriented. They're thinking and everything. Everyone's thinking along these group lines. And I just haven't ever gotten into that. I don't know how to do that. Like sometimes in a group, everyone will laugh and I'm the guy, I don't even know what people are laughing about. And sometimes like at an NA meeting, I still think it's funny. Last week, I don't know if I should share this. I'm not naming names. I just think it was a funny thing. Like somebody was sharing in NA, Narcotics Anonymous. You go there and then you talk about your experience and your recovery and progress and whatever's on your mind. Like 2, 3, 4 minutes, you get to talk if you want to talk. I usually say thank you. I've just been going to these meetings recently and it's been amazing. I really enjoy these meetings. And you meet some really positive, life-minded people. Let's put it this way, life-minded people. I want to say again, I'm at a point where, like my beautiful wife, I'm not interested in weed or alcohol or nothing. I smoke tobacco, just a few rolled up tobacco cigarettes a day, which is far healthier than like the chemical cigarettes that people smoke. Anyway, I'm rambling again. Totally not interested in getting high or doing anything. If nothing else, it's a waste of time. And I'm 50 now, and right, like I basically have wasted enough time. Let's just put it that way. So now the YouTubing thing, I appreciate you watching this. I don't know if there'll be a single person on this earth in all of time that will watch this whole video. I hope you got something out of it if you did. Right now I'm going through this really bad thing online where nobody is reading my articles or posts on Medium and Substack. I'm literally like, and my videos, like 0 views. I had 46 views on this video called How to Quit Drugs, and I made a follow-up video, How to Quit Drugs, and in parenthesis I had Focus on Happiness or Have Happiness as a Goal, different things like this. Half-hour video, and I say some good things. This is the thing, like I do have some good stuff to say. I do really care. I believe I communicate my point effectively. I tend to ramble, but I do tend to wrap things up. In days gone by, like on my YouTube channel, I had literally fans. People that watched my videos and they enjoyed them and they left comments, and one guy saying, oh my God, don't forget me. I'm subscriber number 68 for when you become famous. Don't forget I was like subscriber 68. People that really thought I had something going on. Anyway, it is what it is. You have your ups and downs. I'll continue to put out these videos. Thank you for watching and see you later. Please leave me a comment. Send me some thoughts about Islam, about addiction and recovery. And make it a good one. Bang, bang, bang.